I just looked it up. Government approved $15 an hour minimum wage starting December 29th this year.
In Ontario here?
It's federal.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. And
So
when I first started, I think it was, I want to say like $7 or 7.25 when I started working.
yeah, I think I got somewhere around the $6 level when I was working at the zoo. It was
Yeah.
10 cents above minimum wage. That fucking
Oh, nice. Yeah. I still remember my best job ever when I was at the time I was making I think I was making like $12 an hour and I was 19. And then I got a job snow plowing and the guy said that he was going to pay me $19 an hour. I was like, all right, I've made it. Like, this is it, man. I'm rich. Yeah. It
and
was like,
19 that's good money though at that
yeah,
age.
I mean, I've been making basically minimum wage for, 4 or 5 years. So I was like, this is perfect.
Man, I had the worst habit in high school for a couple of summers. I worked for my best friend because they do like renovations. But mostly they polish and cut mirror and glass. So we used to install windows, mirrors, and broken glass and stuff like that. And then
Yeah.
this is not a knock on them. This is actually one of the great things about immigrant families. But like they're all like no frills family. All hands on deck, all age groups, little brother, little sister. Everyone's at the shop working, right? Like 12-hour days. And then I remember we used to work from Monday to Saturday, 6 days a week. They would include our lunches. At the end of the week, we would get $120. So I worked it out. It was $2 an hour. I didn't.
Yeah.
This is years later, but it was like, but we thought we were ballers because like in high school at 16, you got $120 cash in your pocket and Saturday night.
Yeah. That's the
Right?
best, man.
Yeah.
You have no expenses. Like that $120 goes a long way.
But that actually reminds me of the something I wanted to say about them is that like they're from Vietnam. They're an immigrant family, right? I don't know what program that they fell under, but apparently when they came here, the government loaned them some amount of money to start a business. I don't know if it was a special program just for the Vietnamese or it's some kind of. But anyway, so they got some money to start a business. They started with the company working for them, cutting and polishing mirror and glass. They got to the point where they saved enough money where they opened up their own shop, bought some secondhand machines for polishing and whatnot, and they paid off that loan. They're full citizens and whatnot. It's like there's still tons of opportunity in the West compared to almost anywhere else in the world, right? And it's just if you just increase your effort by just that little bit and be a little bit wiser with how you spend your money, you really can still get ahead.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's not easy, but I hear people complain all the time about taxes and this law and that law and insurance and interest and all this stuff. It's like you can complain all you want, but at the end of the day, like it's like one of the things that my dad told me when I was like 15 years old. He said, my accountant gave me the best piece of advice I've ever heard in my life when I was younger, and I've stuck to that my whole life. He said, "Don't worry about taxes. Don't worry about payments. Just focus on making as much money as you can." That's pretty much my motto that I've lived by.
So that's where I disagree with my dad's philosophy. I think that's what started me off in a bad way because I wanted to be anything but him in terms of money, and it sent me off in the wrong direction because he's very pragmatic. Like if you give him $5, he'll find a way to buy $6 worth of shit with it. Right. So he's that kind of guy. And like, but he has the opposite mentality where it's like, I can't make any more money. And so I need to save or figure out another way to get value out of the same income. And so like he still lives a very Spartan kind of lifestyle. And I'm like, it's great. I guess it's a great survival strategy, but it's not how you get ahead.
Yeah. A lot of people get stuck in that though, because like I find it's a lot of people that are just upset about like taxes and all this kind of stuff. They focus more on the negative, and it's like at the end of the day, it's the stuff you can't control that'll drive you nuts, right? Like don't put your attention on things you can't control. Like all we can do is just look at what we can control and do the best we can at that, and that's the only way you're going to get ahead.
Yeah, and like I forgot who I was talking to, but I have a few friends, or quite a few friends in either renovations or construction, you're included, and I'm like, oh, it might have been you were talking about. I'm like, there's a huge void or huge demand for people in the trades right now, and they pay great money, right? Like I forgot what it was, but I think it was just a 1-year course to be a crane operator, and it's a great paying job, and you're in construction, but it's not quite as labor intensive versus some of the other positions there, right?
Yeah.
And it's like just set aside your life for a year, get that certification, and they're begging for people to fill those jobs.
Oh yeah, there's a ton of demand for that. Like I know, like I used to know a guy at one of the gyms I went to. He was in his like he was like 22 at the time, and he was like one of those like big crane operators that builds like skyscrapers. He was making $150 an hour at like 22, 23 years old. Yeah,
Holy shit.
a ton of money. Like he was working, like 50, 60 hour weeks. So I'm pretty sure he was making like $400,000 a year or something like in that neighborhood.
You know what? I just had a thought of if we have the right listeners, some lawyer or law students going, I'm in my 5th fucking year. I'm like $100,000, $50,000 in debt, and I wish I could get a $120 an hour job.
Yeah, man, and there's a lot of jobs for it. Like it's high stress, obviously. Like you don't want to make a mistake, but yeah, there's a ton of really high paying jobs out there if you know where to look for it. If you don't mind doing that kind of work.
Yeah. So there's a lot of options, right? There's like if you're like the physical kind of person, or you're like probably more social, that's a nice job tailored to you. If you're an introvert, there is literally no better job than being a software developer. And that's one of the few areas where it's highly lucrative and nobody gives a fuck where you learned to code. You apply to a company, they give you a test, you pass that test, that's it. We know you can code. End of story.
Yeah, that's one thing I wish I took more. Like I took code for 1 semester when I was in university, and like looking back on it now, I wish I did it longer because I enjoyed it. It was interesting. But like at the time, I didn't know that it was going to be this big of a thing, right? So
nobody did, man. I got into the wrong program at the wrong time. I got into traditional animation, hand drawn, in Sheridan College. So Sheridan was the best school at that time, and they like Disney kind of recruited from them. My second year, towards the end of my second year, Disney was like, "Yeah, we're shutting the doors. We're going 3D, fucking Toy Story, and we're not going to be drawing anymore." So I had the choice of starting over again, learning 3D animation, or just do something else. And I was like, I can't do more of this thing. Like,
yeah, that's a pain.
And like I just wish I got into coding because I was kind of lost a little bit for after that. I was jumping around jobs, and I ended up at Brinks. But yeah, like if I got into code back then, that was 2002 to 2004. No, it was 2004, right? So that was like I would have been like an OG coder by now. I might be like some mid-level manager at Google or some shit.
Or you could have been the guy that made Flappy Bird.
yeah, exactly. Holy shit, I could have been one of the first app developers.
Yeah.
So I think want to wrap it up from here?
Yeah, I think we're good. I don't know how long we've been on, but it feels like a while.
I want to leave one message. I think that seems to be the theme of this episode is like there's a lot of benefit to being prepared and anticipating the future, and like just put a lot more thought into your actions, whether it's budgeting your money or your career.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, just be smart and don't buy too many expensive holidays if you can't afford it.
All right, YouTubers, have a good one. See you again.